It's a board that works with a lot of celebrities and, oh, I want to be close to this celebrity. We had to really establish those fundamental questions that set a framework. What is our focus? What can you contribute to this board? How much time can you allocate? How much revenue or funding can you contribute out of your personal resources? Being very ambitious and a woman of faith, I will grind to get the job done. I want to think outside the box. Having board members that understood this is a I get to, not a I have to. Making that shift is, I think, one of the areas in which we were able to elevate our board to the next level. What makes a board high impact?
What makes a board a high impact board?
How many of you feel like you have a high performing, a high functioning board? Because boards are forever evolving, I don't know of an organization that's not having some type of challenges within board building and board relationships and maintaining the level of high impact working together. I really don't. I think it's a constant working relationship that requires all of us to be very intentional about it.
What we've seen, what really makes a high impact board is that your board believes that they're leader. It's not an advice and consent board. It's not staff comes in or Tige comes in and says, this is what I'm thinking about doing. Is that okay with you? Or let's have a debate about that. We started off, we have people who can do tasks that are given them, but you need people who are leaders, people who are going to want to make an impact. One of the ways that we've been able to move that needle is we do board evaluations every year. On that, we ask, what do you want to accomplish this year? Not what do you want kids to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish? I look at those during the year and I catch up to those board members and say, how are we doing on this? Or what can I do to support you on that? So these are self-evaluations. First 10 things are about us and the next are about you. And so I bring the about us into a meeting to have a conversation about it. Does this feel right? And there are a lot of questions about how do you think we're doing? Where can we do better? What do you need from me? What do you need from Tige to make this work? I look at part of my role is to recruit and encourage board members to try and get the best from them, but it's also to remove whatever stumbling blocks there are. One of the things that is really important to do, bringing people in and letting them know what their role is, what their job is. I have the book because I want them to understand what board membership means, but I don't just give them a book because that's just a book on general. But we have to talk about kids in the spotlight. We have to talk about how our board has worked. We have to talk about what our expectations are of them. And we like to do that together. So we probably interviewed board members separately, but then have that discussion together. It's not about what we can do for you. And it took us so long to go from this scarcity. We find out later with people on our board who just want their name on a letterhead.
Meetings so that we know this is an item that we're going to spend about 20 minutes on. So on the agenda, we have the time frame in which we're going to discuss. Sometimes it goes a lot longer than we anticipated, like when we actually purchased our production studio with purpose, they thought I was crazy. Like, we buying a building? We got this much money. I'm like, we buying this building on faith. And so we jumped in with both feet. We bought the building, but it was a lot of discussion when we have an event that's outside of the Kids Film Awards. Like the earlier part of the year, we did a Cocktails for a Cause, which was a board initiative. And we spent the majority of our board meetings just talking about that, going over the financials, of course, and then just talking about that. Or if there's a staff issue, then we're also talking about that as well. So it just all depends on what the subject matter is. We add it to the agenda and we spend time on it, discussing it within the agenda. So that, for me, was also a very unique but challenging situation because as a founder, I'm selecting the board. I'm selecting my bosses. And it was a little difficult at first because they're like, wait, this is your baby. Whatever you want to do, we'll do it. And I'm like, but this is not how board structures work. Like, I need you. And then when I started developing that board, and I began to get challenged on certain things, I was like, wait, hold up, I started this, right? So I had to do some reality checks within myself to say, wait, this is the type of board we needed. We're now moving into that governance space where the accountability piece is so important. But
that I just wanted to sort of double down on is really have standards. for board membership. There's some minimum ones. Somebody has to be interested. Well, we spend a lot of time going, oh, we should ask this person to be on the board because they could help us. But they have to really be interested. They have to be passionate about the mission. If I'm online in Starbucks and if there's more than 3 people in front of me, the person behind me knows about Kids in the Spotlight. And I want everybody to be that passionate about it. So those things are important, and you have to understand what's their motivation for being. Do they have the time and do they have the resources? The idea is, if I'm asking somebody to be on the board, you've got 3 years to make the impact you want to make. I love it when a board member comes in and at the first meeting, they're engaged. One of the things that we introduced in the board meeting, go around the room. What did you do to move the needle between the last board meeting? First, silence and discomfort. Tige and I really don't like conflict.
Not at all.
So we're both like, well, let's jump in and save them. And then you end up with, we have like an overachiever on our board. And so I like to have him go first sometimes because I want everybody to be the best on the board. And the other thing is, I want them to really enjoy being on the board.
It became a healthy competition almost. And it came out of feeling like I was showing up in every board meeting, giving these reports, and my boss like, oh, good job. And I'm like, okay, but your pat on the back is great. I truly appreciate it. But that's not helping me in the work that we're doing. So that's when we made that shift of starting the board meetings off with asking individual board members around the room, what have you done since the last board meeting to move the needle?
The staff should not be running the board meetings. Should not be setting the agenda. Certainly consult on the agenda. What do you need? What do you need on the, on the agenda? But it's the board's responsibility to do that. And it should be strategic. And we're learning on this. I mean, this is not something that we've got perfected. We used to do a month before the board meeting, everybody give me your ideas. We had like an ADD meeting, where everything's bouncing around, we're not getting anywhere. She would come in the meeting, having worked incredibly hard since the last board meeting, and just report on what was happening. And then some board members would sort of respond constructively, but critical way about things, which was not what we were there to do. Define what is it you want from your board. And that's what your meeting should be about.